What to say about X? Well, first of all, I guess, rest in peace. For those that don't know already, XXXTentacion, aka, and I hope I don't butcher this, Jose Dwayne Onfroy, was shot and killed outside of a Pompano Beach motorcycle shop today, June 18th, 2018. Also today, Jimmy Wapo, a Pittsburgh rapper I've been a fan of, was killed in a drive-by today. So there's been a lot to take in. And I think there's really only one way I know how to work through it. So this is Michael Cushing. I'm your host. You're watching Trap Profiles, and this is XXXTentacion.
So I don't feel the pain no more. I don't feel the pain no more. Gotta get it how I live. I don't feel the pain no more. I don't feel the pain no more. Spend years at the crib, so I don't feel the pain no more. I don't feel the pain no more. Gotta get it how I live, so I don't feel the pain no more. I don't feel the pain no more. I spend years at the crib, so I don't feel the pain.
For myself, and I'm sure many others, X popped out onto the scene on January 2017, when Drake premiered his song KMT at a concert at Amsterdam. Many claimed KMT was a Drake ripoff of X's song, Look at Me. Look at Me had been bubbling in the underground, but this was really when it popped. And X was no stranger to legal trouble at the time. He was serving time for battery, false imprisonment, and witness tampering charges related to an ex-girlfriend of Tentacion's. These charges have hung over X's entire career and have some stomach-churning details that you can find with a Google search. It doesn't really feel right to dwell on this so soon after the passing, so needless to say, X was a controversial character straight from the start. Whether or not you think Drake ripped off X, the buzz from this controversy took X from the underground to the mainstream consciousness, where his checkered past and his brash music caught the attention of many. For many people, X was the first introduction to the grungier, angrier, more aggressive style of rap coming from the South Florida that was soon to go mainstream.
Turn the beat up a little bit. Hey, patty cake, work my wrist like patty cake. Two white bitches like Mary Kate. Nigga wanna be like Patty get eat my deal like sunlight steak. Right, bitch, that's my
They blew out the sound because their equipment sucked. The bass was big and distorted to hide imperfections, and energy was the key. And here was X. After a wild tour that had its own issues, he wrapped up the summer by releasing his debut album, 17. And guess what the fuck? The king of mosh pit rap released an indie rock emo fusion album out of nowhere. And while personally I was not a huge fan of this new direction, it showed X's versatility to the world. 17 connected with his fan base. I think it was a lot like those of us who grew up listening to Kid Cudi to get us through our dark times. X, and with the 17 album, was now an artist that really could speak to people's emotions. He made music for the outcasts, those that were wrapped up in the dark places.
I've dug two graves for us, my dear. Can't pretend that I was perfect, leaving you in fear. Oh man, what a world, the things I hear. If I could act on my revenge, no would I? Some kill, some steal, some break your heart, and you would thought that I would let it go and let you walk. But broken hearts break bones, and break up fast, and I don't want to let it.
After 17, X dropped two more projects. A Ghetto Christmas Carol EP to round out 2017, and I'm not even sure how to say this, but The Question Mark, which was his second album in March of 2018. At this point, it seems like X had found his groove. Having staked out the extremes of his sounds, on these new projects he would hop from sound to sound with skill that definitely separated himself from his SoundCloud-based peers. Emo, boom bap, indie, mosh pit trap, R&B, you name it, X could do it. X was manic and had talent in excess. He'd pick a sound and then fiddle with it until he was bored, and then move on. The variety was impressive at the risk of being a little all over the place, but I was definitely looking forward to hear what was coming next from X. I was hoping he'd turned a corner as an artist and was moving towards something greater. There were so many creative directions just waiting for X to explore. Now he's never gonna get to do it. It's just a fucking shame. The man's dead now. Over what? A Gucci bag and some pocket cash? I mean, X was a problematic figure, but nobody deserves an ending like that, and definitely not at 20 years old. It's just stupid. It's just a fucking waste. And I don't know what to say anymore, so I think I'll just let X speak for himself.
Worst thing comes to worst, I fucking die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive, and to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy, or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life, regardless of the negative around my name, regardless of the bad things people say to me. I don't give a fuck, because I know my goal in the end, and I know what I want for everyone, and I know what my message is.